Welcome back once again to Big Bacon's Collection. It's Declassified Monday here in the Bacon Bunker. Today we're going to be looking at the Target exclusive Special Missions Cobra Island Cobra Viper. Now there's a little bit of a backstory on how I got this figure. Anybody who collects action figures knows what it's like to hit the wall. That moment of, fuck it, I'm done. Well, I was going through one of those moments and actually had the nerve to say so in one of my Facebook groups. And a guy in that group actually reached out to me. And all he asked simply was, "What's your address?" So I gave it to him. And he told me that he was going to be sending me a special package. So, in that box was 2 classified figures, 2 of the Walmart retro carded figures, the 4-inch ones, along with a couple of other little things here and there. And, being in the slump, because honestly, when you're a toy hunter and you can find nothing, and the things that you do find you already have, I was in a down state. And this guy stepped up and hooked me up and put me in a hell of a good mood, which is why to this day we actually have Big Bacon's Collection. So his name is Articulated Chad. He's actually here on YouTube. If you're into vintage style G.I. Joes, particularly the 90s, be sure to swing by his channel and check him out. Does some great discussions over there. I'll go ahead and link him in the description below. But for now, let's get on to the review. So as always, we're going to start with the accessories. We're going to look at the figure. We're going to check the articulation, deck him out, and get him on the shelf. So, the vintage Vipers had a very distinctive look that made absolutely zero sense. And that look was a visored helmet with a set of goggles that sat on top of the helmet. When the classified, they went ahead and continued that look. The goggles are a separate piece. They are a looser, rubbery style plastic, so be careful. Don't overextend them, don't overstretch them, because they will snap. I've seen it happen to other people. They do have a hard time actually just sitting on top of the helmet, though. He's got an ascot, because what good trooper doesn't have a scarf? It actually opens up in the back, which makes it easier to put on and take off. You don't have to actually remove the head. He comes with a sidearm. Now, if I cover this up, that looks like an actual real-world weapon. And then I open it up and, oh, wait, no. Never mind, no, it doesn't. These are the older ones. None of these have ports for any kind of blast effects. Sculpting on them is fairly nice. It's simplistic, but sometimes simple is good. Comes with a rifle that I guess is supposed to be somewhat similar to his classic rifle, but not really. Got a forward handhold, rear handle, a magazine, and if I remember correctly, is it this one? Yes, this was the start of the removable magazines. Pops out, and with enough effort, will pop back in, if you can get it lined up properly. Strange topside assembly. Stock does not look very comfortable. This one does have a blast port. No paint at all, but, tactically speaking, that's a good thing. And then the final accessory, the backpack. Now this does look very vintage style, or vintage inspired at least. Got multiple pouches on it. Back, both sides. Got the sculpted in plastic buckles. Got the grenades here. Nice bound up section of rope, and it's actually painted on really well. Not all sorts of oversprayed. Maybe a little paint defect there, but I mean, it's not a huge problem. Paint detail, Cobra emblem. Grenades are in the red. Now, because of how close they are, getting the paint in between them, they really didn't succeed at that, but I'll forgive them. Got a big old peg in the back to actually attach it to the figure. Now let's take a look at the Viper himself. So similar to the Cobra Commander, he's got the silver face shield. It is reflective, but it's not true metallic, not the vacuum form. Yeah, whatever they call that. The sculpting on this helmet is really nice. Got additional paint details in the back, but as you can see, a little bit sloppy. At least the face piece is painted well. He's got an overvest, like most militaries, overvest for carrying additional gear. As you can see, magazine pouches. Got a couple more grenades up here on the chest. Comes down here and attaches to the waist belt. It has additional pouches that go all the way around. The paint goes all the way around. Got the Cobra logo tampoed on there. Now, my complaint on the vest is how shiny all this red is. It's like they used the highest gloss paint they could find and then applied it in the most sloppy way possible. I mean, it just goes everywhere on these shoulders. Up here on the front, you've got a section that isn't painted on both sides of it. I mean, the paint is just not well done. At least I got the Cobra emblem on the belt looking pretty good. Arms are in this same kind of Viper blue. Comes down to the forearms. Now, in the vintage figure, the sleeves are rolled all the way up to the mid-bicep. On this figure, these are Duke arms. These are reuse of the original Duke from the first wave's arms. So underneath this forearm guard is a rolled sleeve. You can actually see the skin tone peeking through there. Now, the forearm guards are iconic to the figure. And for the paint to be, I mean, it doesn't come all the way up, doesn't come all the way back. Got a missing section there. Underneath here isn't too terrible. Now, I've seen people take these off to give it that bare arm look, but it's like you're trading one iconic look for another. Pants are textured. These are original sculpt, at that time at least. Got the pockets, which I've seen a lot of people argue that these legs are on backwards because you've got this red textured area on the outside here and on the inside here, but if you switch them, then the pockets would both be in the crotch, which makes even less sense. Knee pads are molded on, but there's no kind of painting for the strapping. You can see the strapping, so I'm guessing that the strapping is supposed to be in the same color blue as the pants. Coming down, the knee pads match the boots. These are some nice looking boots. Figure attachments. He does come with a holster that straps to his thigh. It's got the texture like military web gear. Looks like the hard plastic, I literally just use the word holster. Even has the forward clasp on it. So that's the figure. Let's look at the articulation. Now the head. Up in the head is a ball joint that attaches to a hinge up in the neck. You can actually see the hinge there. But because of this back armor piece, that's all the farther up you're getting. Looking down, on the other hand, you can get some really good down because the neck itself is also on a ball joint. Look side to side. You get some tilt when you combine the two. Arms hinge up to 90, and those detents are rock solid. There is a butterfly joint in there. It's just buried beneath so much vest that it's, well, this side's moving a little bit easier. I'm guessing this side is just stiff like the other joints. Bicep cut for rotation. We have a double hinged elbow that, because of the glove sculpt, gets up beyond 90, but not all the way up. Hands rotate. This left hand is on a horizontal hinge. Right hand is on a horizontal hinge. That can't be right. Okay, that wasn't a hinge I was seeing. That was sculpt detail. This side is on a vertical hinge. So these are obviously a reuse of the Duke hands as well. Now, there is an ab crunch, but because of how bulky the vest is and unyielding, you're not going to get to use it. What you can use is the waist cut for rotation. A little bit of front and back, a little bit of side to side. Drop down hip, allows the leg to come out really far, come forward quite far. It's not gummy. Come back a little bit. Double jointed knee, comes up that far. Really nice range there. Foot hinges back that far. Only comes forward that far because the plating on top of the boot hits the plating on the shin. And there is a forward-facing pin for rocker. So, what do you say we gear this bad boy up and get him where he belongs? As I said, the scarf just opens up, and as long as you don't get it stuck in the shirt collar, and when it's in place, it just kind of sits right in this opening here on the chest plate. Backpack pegs into the back beautifully. Pistol in the holster beautifully. Let's get the weapon in place first. So he's actually a lefty. And joyful, joyful, we've got one of these really weird handles. But luckily there is no trigger guard. Otherwise you would not be getting it on there at all. Okay. Not going to be able to do it like that. Let's bring it up a bit. More of a carry pose. Now, because of that odd angle on the front, you can get the hand on there a couple different ways. And then we just sort of you see what I mean about it not wanting to really stay in place. So I might end up just blue tacking it in the back. And what's really funny is when I originally had this guy displayed, these sat on there